Hello and welcome to your Wednesday evening weirding session. I'm your host, C. Savory, creator of Fractal Praxis. Something felt off for today's talk. I think I'm still finding my voice here. There is so much alive within me for these talks. It's hard to discern which of these vibrating threads to follow. I drafted one whole talk unpacking my personal history and core learnings that I gained. But then I drafted this whole other talk, the one I'm going to deliver now, just last night. In honor of the truth beneath appearances, I don't want you to watch me in this one. I want you to resonate, to feel me, to hear me. Witness your own emotional landscape unfold as you flow on the stream of my speaking. And as it so happens, due to circumstances beyond my control, I was not able to get good sound quality recording today. There was power tools being used in my yard. So I won't even be releasing the second talk I drafted. Instead, I'm going to be releasing a talk that I gave to myself that I found in my archives. This recording, which I'm releasing in full, is a non-linear reflection and preach on being a resonant instrument for collective intelligence and the importance of choosing this journey, this path of reassociation as opposed to dissociation. The temptation and reward for dissociating right now is significant, but it will only be a toll that we have to pay later. The path to liberation is one of recovering our sacred ability to appropriately associate with one another, with the realm of all beings, and even within our own constructions of the world, our mind maps, our worldviews inside of ourselves. All of that is in the domain of relationship, as I speak about in this next talk. So as poetic and reflexive and non-linear as this piece is, what's interesting is that the second talk I drafted last evening contains many of the same points, only it is addressed to this unique political moment in the United States and what it takes to appropriately respond to it. So it was a lot more theoretical and lecture content on effective responsiveness. Again, I won't be releasing that talk just yet, so instead I'll release one from the vaults. Simply sit back, relax, and float on the waves of these ideas and see what resonates for you and see what does not. Take only what you need and proceed, faithful humans. I am literally a resonant instrument. My diaphragm presses air through my esophagus, from my lungs, out in the form of pure vibrations. Like a flute, air pressed through contoured shapes giving name to sounds and tones. And we resonate with it. Our eardrums, our very bones rattling in response to an encounter with such sound. If it weren't for that, what would these capacities, these gifts even mean? It means nothing if I speak and no one hears me. It means something if I hear myself. But if I speak and neither me nor anyone else hears me, that is a condition of alienation, of suffering, of severing ties with life and earth. Reassociation is everything. And why I say attunement is everything. How fully can you inhabit your experience? How apt, how appropriate, that is your relationship with everything else? Everything else. Your relationship in reality. Your relationship to the web of other beings, other living beings. Your relationship to the matrix of meaning that your mind has projected and applied onto this world. All of these domains are relationship. Who and what are you but a strange loop? And yet, you are a sense maker. You are a relationship holder. Relationship entails response. Response entails responsibility. What is your ability to respond? What is your ability to accurately perceive? What is your ability to accurately enact? How apt is your response, your responsivity, and your responsibility? If you feel estranged from yourself, from the world, perhaps there are ideas blocking you from right relationship. Perhaps there is grief following a process that was bypassed. Perhaps there was a process that should have been gone through and reckoned with that was avoided. These become your blocks to reassociation. When I was born, I began developing maps, and even before that, through the inheritance of karma, I began developing a map of the world, and it has been my life's work. Ever since I became conscious, to reclaim the content of that map, to make it more accurate, so that accurate to the truth, not to appearances, so that I could be of the greatest service and purpose possible through my life. When I was highly alienated, highly confused and overwhelmed and bewildered and flummoxed and hurt by crap stories that didn't map well onto the world that I had received, that had been programmed into me in my youth, as soon as I gained consciousness, I began a subtle process grounded in reassociating with myself, with my own spirit. I was so clogged up with self-loathing, with alienation, consumed with unconscious rage at my circumstance, that it was as if squeezing a trickle of spirit out of me when I wrote. I was so obsessed with conforming or not conforming that I was trapped in place, frozen, not able to be loved by others, not able to love myself, not able to feel love, not able to feel anything. And yet, the trickle was there, the trickle of spirit, as it is in all of us, the trickle of truth, the trickle of heart. And I began choosing to trace that trickle. And it became a little thicker. I spent time sponsoring that trickle with my attention, putting my attention on it, spending time with it. Stream of consciousness writing was the gateway. It would later lead to practices like meditation. It would later lead to practices like ritual. All of these are reassociating. My capacity to really see and bear witness to and love and begin to understand my own world was very small at first. But it seemed to help me to do this stream of consciousness writing. So I name and speak of what I know. These have become lifelong practices. And in the process, I have enduringly and tangibly healed from everything I've been capable of making conscious. In order to see and understand more holistic, deeper aspects of this world that we live in, I have had to go through major breakdown and breakthrough events. Essentially upheavals in my map of the world up to that moment that would be upturned and radically replaced by a new or reorganized map of the world subsequently. This awakening type experience has happened to me also dozens of times. And because I learned also through this reflexive observing how to foster the conditions for it to happen. A big intellectual revolution that I went through was a shift from Western civilization imprinting to first systems thinking and then indigenous and political consciousness. So that's been my journey, and it's one of reassociating. It's one of clinging to any truth I might stumble upon or scour out through my efforts and forcing myself, my flexible being, my worldview, my ego, to adapt to the truth. And so this is a path of many initiations, of ordeals, of challenges, and of great rewards. In that sense, it's like an entrepreneur's, path. Many risks, but really profound rewards. All centered in this completely intrinsic process that is baked into our existence, which is the process of learning. I'm just taking learning and I'm amplifying it, and I'm making it work for me. I was a child that was hypervigilant, highly dysregulated easily, highly disorganized, with emotions too big because of my abuse. I suffered and struggled a lot. I was in hyper flight mode in everything I did. but even I could and did reassociate. And it's through a process that is nothing short of sacred. This is a sacred process. This is a sacred way that we desperately need as modern people born into incredibly complex and in many cases deteriorating circumstances. We need this way, this medicine, because it creates coherence where there was once dissonance. It is an incredibly high-yielding process. And the essence of it, the bottom line is reassociate. Take the opportunities available to you to shift away from dissociation and move towards reassociation. And I don't mean in superficial ways. I mean in deeper ways, like even listening to yourself and really listening to what you feel, if that makes sense, feeling what you feel and trying to turn that into sense-making. You are a sense-making being, a living being, and so you are tapped into the web of all intelligence through your relationship with the web of all life. And this intelligence can sometimes surge through us in the form of what we colloquially term intuition. You are a lot more powerful than you realize, or maybe than you're willing to admit. But you will be powerless, you will be stuck, and you will be swamped until you move away from dissociation. Dissociation is a natural impulse and a natural incentive, frankly, in times of great disarray and dismay and trauma. But as much ground as you can claim for reassociation, this will be your path to healing. It is the fractal path to healing. And that was one from the vaults. To close today's session, I want to offer you something fresh, a song that is meant to be sung as a blessing before meals. A song that came through me one day that I want to share with you. I hope you learn this song and sing it with great enthusiasm and vigor. Blessed be. May there be plenty for the people. May there be beauty for our souls. In gratitude of all our relations who have filled our cups and our bowls. Thank you so much for witnessing. Now is the time in our ritual where we pass the proverbial basket. If you would like to support the work of Fractal Praxis, please make a donation using the link below or consider becoming a Fractal Praxis member. Merry meet and merry part and merry meet again.